This is Terrence Andre Banks coming today from Information Age Financial Solutions, discussing a fantastic article I read from Mish Talk. Unemployment has to make sense, and this article just doesn't. It shows out a lot of the flaws that goes on in terms of when they're reporting about unemployment, people working, and just a whole in that sense. We're going to dive right into the article. As always, I put a link inside the description. Age 16 plus, there are 158 million people working, but 106 million not working. Of course, the title alone caught my attention. We'll dive right in. As I mentioned, the percentage of people age 16 and over who are not working is high and will get worse. Let's go over why. He always does great charts here, Mish. You see that here. Chart notes. Numbers are for those in the civilian non-institution population defined as age 16 and over, non-institutions, prison, nursing care, etc. Employed means worked or paid for work on paid vacation, etc. in the reference period. The labor force consists of all the people who are employed plus all the people who are both actively looking for work and are able to work. Non-employed is not the same as unemployed. To be considered unemployed, you have to be actively looking for work and able to work. The number of unemployed is the difference between non-employed and not in the labor force, roughly 6 million. The key age 16 and over stats: 150 million, 58 million employed, 132 million usually working full time, 106 million not employed, and 6 million unemployed. Advertisement there. Gotta love this stat. 106 million people age 16 and over are not employed, but only 6 million of them are unemployed. It doesn't make any sense. Employment level as percent of population does a great job of looking this. See that here. Population is a civilian non-institutional population age 16 plus. In the early 2000s, 64.74% were employed, only 59.87% today. In the early 2000s, 53.95% were employed full-time, only 49.99% today. In the early 2000s, only 35.45% were not employed versus 40.13% today. Key idea: there's an increasing number of people who work to support those who are not working. Many of those not employed are collecting Social Security, disability, and food stamps, now called the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP. Employment levels and participation age by group, numbers in the thousands. And you can show this line that is going a drastic drop down. This is a serious problem. I use seasonally adjusted numbers when available, otherwise unadjusted numbers. Participation rates, to definition. The participation rate is a percentage of the population that is either working or actively looking for work. The labor force participation is calculated as labor force, civilian, non-institution population, labor force divided by civilian non-institution population times 100. People working or seeking work longer than ever, but there's a decline in the percentage of those in prime working age who are in the workforce. So where are the workers? The Wall Street Journal asks labor market history, where are the older Gen Z workers? For people over age 15, the labor force participation rate, the share of people employed actively seeking a job, dropped from an average of 63.1% in 2019 to 61.71% in 2021 and recovered to 62.2% in October. For people ages 20 to 24, participation that averaged 72.1% in 2019 stood at just 70.8% in October. That equals a shortfall of about 500,000 workers in the early 20s when comparing the current size of that workforce with 2019 levels. Participation for people over 55 also remains well below pre-pandemic levels. That seems at least partly due to many of them taking early retirement, either by choice or because of difficulty finding suitable work late into their careers. Those reasons don't apply to people in their 20s, great point, who are usually just starting out in their careers. In the past, the decline in labor force participation among younger people has usually coincided with an increase in their school enrollment, generally reflecting higher relative demand for educated or highly skilled workers, especially in the weak labor market, economists said. That's what happened during the 2007 to 2009 recession, but it hasn't been the case this time around. About 1.5 million fewer students were enrolled in college this fall compared with before the pandemic, according to the National Student Clearinghouse on Education nonprofit. So not only people not going to school as well much as anymore as well. Employment levels in the retirement age groups, number in thousands. Age 60 plus chart notes. 27.7 million people age 60 and over who are working, 12 million age 60 to 64, 6 million age 65 to 69. There are 22.7 million people of retirement age were still working at an increasing rate over time. These people will retire. Replaced by whom? And what levels of productivity? By the end of the decade, nearly all this group will be retired. Who will support this group in increasing Medicare needs, given the percentage of full-time workers keeps dropping? Huge temporary growth in gig work to make ends meet. Another good point. I regularly run out of money and have to rely on credit cards or family for financial support. Strongly agree. Some would agree and disagree. Look at the age levels of people who agree and disagree. It's striking here, too. Of those working, there's a huge temporary growth in gig work to make ends meet. Nearly half of millennials agree or somewhat agree with the statement. Regularly run out of money and have to rely on credit cards or family for financial support. Act Your Wage. On December 31st, I noted Act Your Wage is a new meme as career ambitions plunge. There's no time to do extra unpaid work when you need a second part-time job just to pay the bills. With millions due to retire, competition for jobs will increase. Put this all together, you will have the makings of an inflationary wage spiral coupled with decreasing productivity. But the Fed cools the need for jobs. What happens to the 49% of millennials struggling to make ends meet? The post originated on Mish Talk. Thanks for tuning in. Kind of read through this and jumbled up a couple of things. Worth your time to take a look at. This article it has to make the unemployment when they reporting and stuff and everything is rosy. Things got to make sense. And with the key statistics that he pointed out in this is striking, to say the least. Happy New Year. And this video's been of value to you. Please subscribe, leave some comments. And to my next video for Information Age Financial Solutions, I'm out.